I think it's true to say that sometimes a job search can be a long and somewhat arduous process. If you're currently employed, then you've barely got the time in the day to devote the necessary time and effort in order to get the job that you're looking for. And by the same token, if you're unemployed, or perhaps you've been unemployed for some time, then other pressures can come to bear. Cash flow can become an issue, and certainly the clock is ticking. So I think we can agree that whatever situation that you're in, the attitude that you bring with you to your job search is going to be critical in the results that you get. So with that in mind, I've brought together some attitudes that I think are going to be worth adopting during a job search, and perhaps some which are worth avoiding. Hello, my name is Stephen Wright. I'm a career coach here at Career Mentor, and we help high-performing financial services professionals make their next smart career move. So the first attitude I think is critical is that of having a sense of abundance. So what I mean by that? Well, it's perhaps best explained by looking at the opposite. Imagine that you're interviewing a candidate, somebody who, poor soul, who's been down on their luck. They haven't had any wins recently. They've been unemployed for some time. And when you're interviewing them, they come across as being somewhat desperate and needy and clingy. That's not a very attractive attitude for you to find in that particular candidate. And so I think the opposite is true. I think that in order to make yourself as attractive a candidate as you possibly can, having that sense that you are winning, that you are progressing, that you have abundance, that you have choices, I think all of those makes you a much more attractive candidate. Now, how can you adopt that, especially if you're not feeling that? Well, having been in that situation of being unemployed for a bit, I think that there are some easy things that you can do that are going to at least get you down that track some distance. The first is to create a plan for yourself so that you feel that you're taking control of your situation and that you've got a plan and a path to follow on your job search journey. Second thing is to remind yourself of all the value that you can bring to a business. So write down all those things, all the ways in which you can add value to a business. And this is certainly not an exercise in modesty. This is an exercise which is to prepare for interview, but also is designed to make you feel good. And for each one of those ways in which you can add value to a business, then write some examples so you really do remind yourself of all of this. I think the final thing that you can do here is to create a list of all the things that have to be present in any particular job, the people, the place, the culture, the role itself, all those things that have to be present in order for you to know that this is going to be the right environment where you're going to be able to flourish and give of your best. Having that list turns you from a beggar to a chooser because you now know precisely what it is that you're looking for. So those techniques might help. Next thing to do is to use your time well. Couple of ways of thinking about this. First of all, if you're engaged in a job search, then clearly any time that you're devoting to that is going to move you forward and help you get results. Equally, you may have decided to deliberately take some time out, having been made redundant or having decided to leave an organization. I want to spend this summer with my children. That seems like a good thing to do. Also, it might be I'm going to go and use this time to get further qualifications, professional qualifications, or I'm going to pursue a particular hobby. I'm going to learn how to cook and I'm going to get that qualification. Whatever it is, making a deliberate decision to do that makes you feel in charge. And also, when you are talking about taking time out during a job interview, you'll be able to illustrate that you are proactive, that you've taken decisions, and that you have used your time well in that instance. Next thing is to adopt an attitude of being inquisitive and curious and having your critical thinking switched fully on. I think that most good interviewers will really welcome candidates who are going to ask incisive and interesting questions, who are not immediately sold on the idea, but really want to understand the situation that they're getting themselves into. Now, that inquisitive and curious and attitude extends not only to you asking questions in the job interview, but also the research that you're doing prior to those interviews as well. I think we can accept, and it's the next point, I think that we can accept that you're not going to be the right candidate for many of the jobs that you go for. And equally, some of the jobs that you go for are not going to be right for you. So there is going to be a good deal of rejection during your job search process. And being able to handle that objection does require the attitude of being robust and resilient. So using those rejections as an opportunity to improve your situation, see them as a learning opportunity, I think is probably a very good attitude. And not only that, if you're getting enough feedback, it might be time for you to rethink the way in which you're presenting your offer, or perhaps even rethink the audience that you're targeting. So those can be ways in which you can turn those rejections into a positive. So robust and resilient. Next one is being professional, conducting ourselves at the highest possible standards of professional courtesy and manners, I think is absolutely important. So being punctual and ensuring that you write thank you notes and conduct yourself in a fantastic way during job interviews is really important. That means that when you're talking about previous employers and previous colleagues in various situations, you talk about them in a discreet and diplomatic manner. There is a recent trend in the last year or so, I think it's called ghosting. Well, ghosting is the complete opposite of what we want to do. We want to hold ourselves to really high standards of professional behavior. Final thing to talk about is LinkedIn. LinkedIn, as we know, your LinkedIn profile is your shop front, is your main marketing tool. And anybody with an internet connection can find you and can see what you're all about, and the attitude that you project in your LinkedIn profile therefore becomes really important. From my point of view, I think that anything that hints at scarcity or neediness or being too available is to be avoided. I think perhaps if you're coming fresh out of university or fresh out of an MBA, that thing that you can put alongside your photo which says open to work, that might be okay in that circumstance. But otherwise, I think it just sends the wrong message. And so think about that. Think also about what you write in your headline and what you write in your about section. Make sure that it's projecting a very positive, very abundant and very upbeat message to the marketplace about what it is that you've got to offer. Now, I may well have forgotten something in all of this, so if you have any further ideas about other attitudes which would be useful for people to read, then please do put them in the comments below. Equally, I'll also put the blog that I wrote about this in the comments below. If you've liked this, if you think it's added value, then please do give me a big thumbs up. It does help with the algorithms without question. Also, if you'd like to have a chat about your career, your situation, your job search, interview technique, whatever it might be, then please do get in touch. All my contact details are at the top of my LinkedIn profile. And thanks very much.